We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
They changed the name of the high school and all James Woods can say is, ooh, I'll be second day. 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 When a ball went turned into a vampire, all James Woods could say was, ooh, I'll be second day. 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 When he became Peter's best friend, they sat around the house and said, ooh, I'll be second day. 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 And you know that James Woods practices lines real well, but everything that he reads becomes real hard to spell. Everyone tries to help him, but the words just won't come out. There's only one thing he can think of, and it's what comes out his mouth. Ooh, I'll be second day. 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 When he comes out of his house, the women scream and shout. Ooh, I'll be second day. 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 When I know that he's an actor, the best of them all when he says, ooh, I'll be second day. 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 Reese's Pieces on the floor and watch him come a saying, ooh, I'll be second day. 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 And you know that James Woods practices lines real well, but everything that he reads becomes real hard to spell. Everyone tries to help him, but the words just won't come out. There's only one thing he can think of, and it's what comes out his mouth. Ooh, I'll be second day. 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 When he comes out of his house, the women scream and shout. Ooh, I'll be second day. 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 Ooh, I'll be second day.
Fucking thing sucks.
Well, hello there. Wow, that was a little loud. It's me, this guy, Uncle Warren, here on a Wednesday night. And you're like, dude, what are you doing? What is your major malfunction, Private Pile? And I will tell you this. I was inspired. I wasn't going to do a show this evening, but I felt inspired by my my pal Willie Bragg, who had a show on earlier this evening. So if you didn't get a chance to check that out, make sure that you're checking out the Willie Bragg show anyway. Like, share, and subscribe, please, and thank you for that. And he was talking about how he said he's going to start using the shut it down hashtag. I'm like, good, very good. So I wasn't planning on doing a show this evening, but I said, you know what? I feel like getting on here and talking about stuff, because I was watching a show earlier, and has some younger people on there who were hosting and talking about politics and stuff, and I was telling them how you can't, you got to talk to people, and you got to get out there and to get out of your comfort zone and talk to people, and you have to kind of be creative in the way you talk to people, because especially if it's somebody you're not used to talking to. You know, you need to find common ground. And so anyway, I felt inspired because I feel some of these kids that's doing these shows like this, they're not getting the point of it. So Peace Dove in the house. Good to see you, my friend. And Max Sarjay too. Game.film off the top there as well. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see YOU. Yeah, we did a show this morning, and I wasn't anticipating on doing a show this evening. I thought maybe I'd have a guest by Friday, and we'd do the show then with the guest. But I was like, well, I kind of got this in my craw now. I just wanted to talk a little bit about it with you guys. I know it's kind of like preaching to the choir, but we got to learn how to preach to other choirs out there is basically what we got to do. Yeah, I'm that morning news guy. I stayed awake long enough to do this shit. Who's that guy in the spaceship that looks like every alien I've ever seen on TV? Was that you? So yeah, so these kids weren't getting the gist of communication, talking to people. Yeah, it is a super secret show. You could say that, I guess. You could, but the super right off the bat show. It took about 20 minutes of planning. There was no planning. It was just doing. That's all it was. They got this guy here. Hey, what's up? Oh, no, you little rascal, go back to sleep. No, nobody conjured you yet. The souls aren't ready to devour yet, master. Yeah, so, some of these people, they're still talking about reading theory and, how we gotta get into, doing all this surface level stuff. And I'm like, well, no, you have to dig down deep and get to the sub level stuff first. And that means, upending this corrupt system that's been entrenched for so long. What is it going to take to, break it up? Well, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of sacrifice. But the first things we need to do is we need to set up mutual aid, which is probably the hardest part of all of this. Getting a worker to strike and them not having any money to live off of, you're not going to get them to do it, probably, more than likely. But if they're able to pay their bills and not get kicked out of their homes, if you have like a strike fund set up for them, then they're more likely to join the cause. So you have to think of it in terms like that. You have to make it easier for people to get out in the streets if you want them out in the streets. It's easy for old fuckers like me to say, hey, get out in the streets, you young whippersnappers. What the hell's wrong with you? But that means we have to set up all of these systems in place before we can do that. The number one is mutual aid, the financial aid for strike workers. You say, well, why won't the unions take care of that? Don't the unions have a strike fund? Well, yes, the unions do have a strike fund, but if your union doesn't vote to go on strike, then you have to do a wildcat strike. And basically you're just going against the union bosses at that point. And so you won't have access to the union benefits. It's like you're striking as a striker. Yeah. Anyway, and it's not just for union folks too. It's for anybody that gets paid. Anonymous in the hizzy for shizzy. My moose Izzy. Good to see you, my friend. Talking you over there across the pond. We're talking about shutting it down over here in the US of A. So how do we do that? You say, well, what's the plan, Stan? Drop off the key, Lee, and set yourself free. Sorry. That's 20 ways to leave your lover. Just hop on the bus, Gus. But you have to have plans in order to do this. Otherwise, people, A, won't take you seriously, and B, they won't get involved if it's, just some fuckery run amok. So, and these aren't set in stone rules or anything like that, but these are just more like guidelines to go by when you're going to do something like this. So we do need to meet rich people that are fed up with the system. I know you're like, well, the system helped make them rich. How are they going to get them on board? Yeah, that's a good question. So you have to be very particular. That's going to be the hard part. The hardest part is finding somebody who's not a real shitheel, but also has cash that can help out. Because you're going to need that money. There's no two ways around. You can't do a massive general strike across the country if you don't have the funding for it. Now, you could set it up in regions. You could do regional setups, I guess, for financial aid, where it's not incumbent upon one, national head. And I think that's another reason why people don't want to do some people don't want to do a general strike, is being, a part of this en masse group which is kind of akin to the federal government, right? You have one person running the whole thing. Then people are not going to go for that too much. So, like I said, it's going to be hard as hell. I mean, that part alone, the financial aid part of it, the mutual aid, is going to be probably the hardest part, to get enough funds to where we can have an effective general strike. The second problem you run into is getting the numbers for it too, right? So what you want to happen is you want it to be a snowball effect, right? You want to see some big industry. Like, every time I see like some big industry that goes on strike, I'm always rooting for, all right, come on, there's got to be another one. There's got to be another one that's going to come along. But usually they settle the strike before anything gets started. And it's like, well, but a general strike, I think you would have to coordinate definitely between not only different parts of the country, different industries. Lainey Peterson, you little troublemaker. I'm glad you're here tonight, sweetie. What's going on? We're talking about shaking up the system, man. You know what I mean? Doing the devil's business, shutting it down, mutual aid, direct action, all that good stuff. Just kind of spitballing with the crew here, trying to come up with ideas and how we can actually get these things done. 3:40 a.m. Going to get a glass of wine. My glass is a pint. You're going to get a pint of wine. Delicious. Oh, that's right. I forget. You're 12. You're 6 hours ahead of us over there across the pond. Well, enjoy your wine there, Anonymous. And just to make sure y'all don't think I'm that crazy, see, this is what he said. Doing that. Are you working out, Lainey? You're always working out. I swear. You're going to outlive us all. That is for sure. So when like I said, when we're talking about, we're talking about like general strikes and stuff like that, how can we make these things happen? It's almost like political parties in a way, unfortunately. Gathering like-minded peoples like that is a tough chore for sure. Nahilo, is that how you say your name? Nahilo Nostrum? I know Nostrum is right, because it sounds right. You should, lady, you should hook up with Anonymous and get that pint glass of wine, and you guys can go to town. Drink 'em up, sailor. You little saucy minx. You know what I'm saying. So Nahilo, let me make sure I'm saying your name right, because I want to make sure I get everybody's name right. I'm kind of a stickler for that kind of thing. You don't know? You think so? Okay. I'm just gonna say Nahilo until you tell me otherwise. Don't beat me unless I pay extra. Okay. So yeah. So doing a general strike is not going to be an easy feat. For sure. It's going to take some time to do, but the point is we need to start doing it now. We need to start laying down the foundation for all this stuff yesterday, right? We need to do it now. And I was very hopeful when the the dock workers at the ports when they when they went on strike. I was like, ooh, the dock workers. But then all about my wine and workouts. Yes, the WWs. Wine and fornication, he'll allow it. Rick, I'm so glad you did that. Naillo. Okay, all right, Naillo. All right, Naillo. I'm going to say it that way from now on until I forget and then call you Nahilo again, and then you'll be like, fuck off, dude. I love my chat peeps. But I'm very respectful of my chat peeps. I want to make sure I get your names right. So, you don't want to, call me fuckface or something like that, even though that's the correct pronunciation. One shouldn't be that so bold, I should say. Exactly. Or General Strike 2024. I'll take 2024, 25. But it's going to take some time to do that because right now we are so divided as a country. We can't get together into groups that we could normally do back in the days when we could talk to people. And it would be easier to get people together for stuff like that. Back when unions were a lot stronger than they used to be too. Now they're weak enough to where, yeah, you might get a little, you'll get some crumbs, or you'll probably get more crumbs than if you weren't in a union, but it's still kind of crumbs. Okay, say my name, Big Daddy. Kameshwari. Ooh. KK, like Krispy Kreme. Ooh, I'd eat that too. I love flirting with Kate. Kate is one of my future ex-wives. So, and she's going to take me for everything I'm worth. Enjoy that 43 cents, dear. Hope you spend it wisely. So the topic tonight, shut it down, mutual aid, direct action. So, direct actions means just strikes, shutting it down. And you want to see a snowball effect with that. You want to see some big industry and then another big industry do it at the same time. So if you can get two to do it at the same time, that's a major thing. Your real name is Mikhail, and you have this problem all the time anyway. People always can't tell if it's Mikhail or Michael, and I just accept both now. Yeah, I'm just like, well, just don't call me late for supper, and then we'll be fine. There, you see, because I don't want to be late. I want to eat everything. You have a story about 47 cents, but later. Yeah, me too. But I can only talk about it on the secret show. I can't talk about it here. This is a little more highbrow around here, folks. Even though it's a little later hour. Pussy hat juice. When prices go up more, that's when people's minds will be more shaken off the duopoly. Yeah, I mean, it's going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to afford anything, right? And, Trump will probably come in and he'll do some little price dip and he'll say, I did everything. I did the whole price dip. It was all me. And then he'll get praised for it. You'll be like saving 4 cents on a banana, Oh, you're over at Facebook now too? You double dipping there, Kate? I knew you was like that. I know you swung both ways, social media wise. Wait, what? So that means we have to make communications our priority when it comes to talking to people, right? So what do? We talk to people outside the comfort zones. And what's the comfort zone? This little area right here, not this particular area of the room, but just say, this space in the social media area, is kind of a bubble in and of itself. Every once in a while, some new person will peek their head in and go, hey, what's this? And they'll check out a channel and they'll go, oh, okay, cool. But more often than not, it's usually just the same people in the space. So we have to kind of think outside the box when it comes to talking to other people. I was thinking about doing something where you get like the shrink wrap and you go old school, like put up flyers, right? And talk about your channels or whatever that you're trying to talk about on your channels. Like if you're providing news or if you're providing talk about like striking or something like that, something important, whatever you're doing. And then just put them up on poles, because you'd be surprised at the amount of street traffic that would look at that and go, Especially nowadays, you put like one of those little QR codes on there, so people just take their phone, go bloop, and they got it right on the phone there, and they go, oh, that's nice. That is so sweet. I've got this place. I've got this thing now. That's one beauty of going back to old school paper flyers for that kind of thing. Well, it costs money because you're printing the stuff up. It costs ink. It costs paper, your time that you're doing it. But, depending on what you're doing, now I'm talking about specifically for channels that are devoted to like getting people together for common direct actions like strikes and stuff like that, right? If you're just doing like some reaction channel or something to politics, okay. Maybe you might get some newbies in there, but mostly it's just the same people over and over again, and you're telling the same shit, and you got the same guests over and over again, and it's just like whoop-de shit, and that's how cults become a thing, right? It's because they're not reaching new people, so that's what we need to do. We need to reach out to new people. Maybe some, people that you work with, or people that you go to church with, or you go to school with, or whatever. You can talk to them. You can talk to them about things that are going on because I'm pretty sure they're concerned about what's going on in the world too. They just look at it kind of differently from a different ideology, right? Maybe they're more conservative, so they look at it through a conservative lens, whereas you might be more left-leaning and you'll see it through a more left-leaning lens kind of thing. So you have to find a way to make those two conversations, those two ideologies mesh together, to get people to talk to you, right? One thing you don't want to do is lie to people. You don't want to lie to people. That's definitely a no-no. Don't lie to people, right? Because especially if you're talking to people you're not used to talking to, for one thing, you're not going to know how to lie to these people anyway. Second, there's nothing to lie about. If if you believe in what you're talking about, you believe it to be the truth, then you have nothing to worry about. Yep, they start looking at you for what's going on when they see your content. That's right. I mean, I got nothing against like these little commentary shows, people just talking about what's on the other people's news channels and stuff like that. I got no problem with that. As long as it's serving a purpose, right? If the purpose is to kind of give people kind of like a ground level education on how the system really works, I'm all fine with that, because the more pickaxes we get through the propaganda, the better. And I don't care how it works. That's the thing. And the older the person, the more propaganda they've been, coated in layers upon layers, of that kind of thing. So, but the younger folks, they're not as coated in the propaganda, but with the advent of smartphones and having information literally in your pocket, practically 24/7, you're still getting propagandized, but it's more of a concentrated effort with it, whereas before it was more of a, you got used to it over time kind of thing. But nowadays everybody is so set off by the littlest things. You can't even have conversations with people that practically without setting them off somehow. Oh, Lainey, you're a sweetheart. $4.99 from Lainey Peterson. Legacy strategies work. They do. Sometimes the OG is the best way, right? Sometimes new shit ain't going to work. You have to go to the stuff that worked back in the day, right? Like I said, with flyers, you could go around with flyers, and you could do that with anything. If you're promoting a channel, you're promoting SoundCloud, whatever. If you have a QR code on there, people can scan it, and boom, you're golden. And you can do that with creating networks of communication with people regarding like general strikes and direct actions and stuff like that. And direct actions is not always just strikes. I mean, it could be anything. You could be just blocking a road or something like that. I know a lot of people are not a big fan of that. I mean, I'm not I'm not going to judge you for the way you protest or whatever, but if it's effective and it gets the message across, that's the whole point of protesting, is to stop the flow of activity, at least momentarily, so that your message can break through that stream of propaganda that's literally just flowing all around you. Lainey knows, like radio is becoming a big thing again, especially talk radio too. There's a blessing and a curse with that, because with talk radio, you can, also spread, bullshit, much like Rush Limbaugh did back in the 90s. He was constantly getting things factually wrong, but no one would call him out on it. And when they did, they were called like liberal, media scumbags or whatever. And they may actually be, Skip, what's up? Seth in the house. Bands still use flyers. Got to get the word out somehow. Yeah, exactly. Bands still use flyers. I mean, yeah, it totally works, because like I said, you have, little things there. Thank you. Because you do have a lot of people who, like, especially in the cities, who walk from their bus stops. Some people walk to work, or they're riding their motorcycles or your scooters or something, or bicycles, something slow moving where something can catch their eye. They might stop and go, hey, let me check that out. Nihilo, did I say that right? I think I did. What I would like to see is unionization of restaurant workers. Exactly. I want to see restaurant workers unionized and ready to go. I want these railroad unions to grow a pair too, and not have the fucking government say you can't go on strike. That, I was like, really? That didn't wake up anybody when Biden said, nah, you can't go on strike. What's wrong with you? What, are you stupid? How did that not wake up people? How did genocide not wake people up? Why are there still not people in the streets? Why? Because of the propaganda. The propaganda is thick. It has been thick. It's thick today. It's more concentrated than it is like widespread, so that people target your interests with the algorithms. So they target your interests, and so they target you with all this dumb shit. And see, some of these people fall for it. You know what I mean? Hell, social media is a good example of getting the word out, at least temporarily, till they shut you down. But as far as like striking workers and stuff, you could still have Facebook groups. I think you could still have like group chats for Twitter and stuff like that. You could still organize. Captain Peon in the house. It's both sides keeping you angry at the other side. That's right. It's about division. That is the number one rule of propaganda: divide and conquer, right? Because, if you're angry at me because I'm a left-leaning guy, and I'm angry at you because you're a right-leaning guy, who told us to be angry at each other? Yeah, exactly. You need some wildcat strikes too. And those are dangerous, right? Those are dangerous for those union people to do the wildcat, because like I said, with a wildcat strike, they may not get that union backing, right? But I do think a lot of these union bosses are bought and paid for. That is for damn sure. And that's why unions have gotten a bad rep over the last few decades. Learned helplessness. Nothing will change. Just get what you can. That's right. They used to tell us as kids, you can't fight City Hall. Don't even try. What's wrong with you? Teaching you complacency. And then you get older and you have to live in the real world and you have to afford it on your own. You're like, hey, wait a minute. This shit ain't right. Can we fix this, please? Global solidarity. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. One collects information. Find advocacy that is active. Too many cats. Support issue and expand to new adventures. Okay. Too many cats. Didn't think you could have too many cats, I guess. Unless you're allergic, then one is probably too many, I would assume. I'm not quite sure how that works. I'm not a math guy, so you have to I apologize for that. Yeah, so this is our little bit of a surprise ExtraBulla Live here, talking about unions and striking and shutting the system down and fixing it, and then doing things. Unions are people power differently. Exactly. Right? But you're only as strong as your your weakest leader. Oh, that cat. Okay. Too many cats. Wildcats attract crazy cat ladies. That's true. So, gentlemen, if you're looking for someone who is probably not active in the dating scene, yet is an animal lover, let's go check out the wildcat strikes where the cat ladies are waiting. Although those kind of cats are not going to appear anytime soon. That's true. We do have the Pope wanting an investigation into Gaza. But then again, it's the Pope. They don't listen to the Pope anymore. Pope's like, nice hat, but whatever. You know, the Catholics might still, give a shit. But now he's just a dude rides around in the Pope mobile. I remember when Pope John Paul got shot, and then they stuck him in the Pope mobile with the glass all around him. That was wild, dude. When the two sides get together, then the unions and government will give more, but not enough. That's right. That's what happened during FDR's term. He was afraid the communists and the socialists were going to take over, so he made some concessions to them, and unfortunately, they just accepted that instead of just steamrolling the whole fucking system and changing it. We were so close, man. Code Pink is now taking on Zionism. Okay, very good. Kate says, I'm fighting City Hall. I have a lawsuit against the city of Vancouver. The Vancouver Parks Board, arborist Joe McLeod, and a logging company. I hold banners on corners 3 days a week sometimes. I did not know that, Kate. Alone? Kate, you are... God, just when I think you're the fucking hottest woman on the planet, you add a couple of molten gallons of lava, lady. Wow. Yes, that's right. She is based. But, like with all groups, just be careful, because there may be some shenanigans going on. So always, was it Reagan said, trust but verify, just, I don't have a problem with Code Pink, but, just keep an eye on them, just in case. I'm just saying. Okay. So getting back to, how do we talk to people about these kinds of things? Like I said, when you have a conversation, what is up, Zalipa? Good to see you, my friend. We were talking New Orleans stuff the other night, me and Zell. But communication is clearly the key to getting any of this done, right? Because you can't just say, "Hey, stupid," our government's fucked up. You should come with us. The people will be like, "What? What are you even talking about?" You see somebody, you be like, "Hey, what's going on, man? How you living? How's your life? and they say, "Oh, my bills are high. This is high. Yeah, mine are high too. These food prices are high. What can we do about it?" And then they say, "Well, I don't know. We need to elect these officials that actually do something, or just vote them all out." And then you say, "Yeah, well, you can vote them in and vote them out, but it's going to be the same people that's running the show. It's not the politicians." And a lot of times when you talk to people like that and you tell them that, when you're not part of one of these cults, the Democrats or Republicans, they tend to listen to you more, which is kind of refreshing. When you're just like, "Look, I'm neither one of those people. I'm out here, and if you're in one of those parties, maybe you should get out, and come join us out here." CJ is back. Unplugged the Empire is RBN Inland Empire from back in the day. Okay. What is this you're saying, Kate? What is this excellent story? "Before the city started logging the park, I was guerrilla gardening with a band of garden pranksters." You garden pranksters around the city, planting food and apple and cherry and plum trees in neglected urban spaces. Free food. "Then, when the new mayor was elected, he had all of our gardens plowed up and then dumped concrete dust on our gardens." Wow. "Then put up 8-foot fences around our gardens. I guess poor people can't have food." Wow. Man, Vancouver mayor, more like the Van fuck you mayor. What the hell? That's very sweet of you, Kate. Skip says, "My father was an iron worker in New York City for 40 years. Teamsters are basically made folks, protected with amazing health coverage. They all stick together and take care of one another." That's right. Especially like those construction workers too. Right? That's how capitalism works. You want capitalism, you need to build up, baby. You got to build that building. And you need people to do it. And if you want it done right, you're going to have to pay extra, a little something on the side, a little extra scratch so that it gets done right and you don't get the corners cut. Sometimes literally. Your dad was in Teamsters Local 200 of Milwaukee. He raised a badass couple of girls. Aww. Yeah, they used to be a thing back in the day, but unions were powerful. And now they're just, it's just like everything else. Something gets corrupted, and you don't alleviate that corruption. What's it going to do? It's going to infect the whole thing. Just a reminder, if any of you, I don't know if any of you stream on Twitch, but if you do, just be careful now because they've updated their terms to where if you use the word first letter Z, last letter Ionist, they'll probably boot you off the thing. So if you're doing political stuff over there, please be careful. Twitch is a snitch bitch in this case. All water has to be chlorinated. Yuck. Forget that. People forgot about mafias when it comes to union these days, apparently. Yes. And why do you think gang activity is so bad? That's the worse your economy is, the worse your gang activity is going to be, right? Because these folks are out here, a lot of people don't want to join a gang, but they figure they have to for protection purposes, right? They're out there, they don't want to get robbed by other gang members, so they join a gang. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to mention our one rule. We don't like white people in our chats. See, because everybody's blue and the thing with the Glaven. Yes, use it wisely. Don't hit anybody over the head because they'll trace it back to me, and I don't want to be involved with any police activities. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying. But I've been fortunate enough to where I grew up in the South, but I've lived in New York and L.A. and now in Chicago, and so I've had a taste of both places of the rural life and the city life, and the people that dwell in both places. And it's like, and when I was doing amateur stand up comedy at open mics and stuff like that, one thing you would do is kind of, if you weren't the first comic up, you would read the room. You would look around and see what jokes people were responding to, what kinds of jokes, that sort of thing. So that's what you have to do when it comes to people, when you're talking to them, especially when you're trying to get them to do something that's dangerous, not only financially, but probably physically too. Something that's going to be really dangerous. And they're not going to be able to grasp the overall concept of what a general strike means, where you're shutting down the country to the point where you're getting demands met for major changes, right? And I can't even remember the last time something like that happened for real in this country. But you got to shut things down. You can't. I keep saying it. It's right. It's like you're trying to, put a nice coating of asphalt pavement on this road that clearly has damage underneath with the potholes and stuff like that. You have to fill up the potholes first. You have to repair the foundation, as it were. You have to. If you want to talk about it in religious terms, it says don't build your house on a foundation of sand, build your house on a foundation of rock. It makes sense, right? So we need to create a rocky foundation that's malleable, as the years progress, it adapts to the changing times, the way the Constitution was supposed to do with amendments. Right. As the years progressed, they knew things were going to change. Technology was going to change. A lot of ideas are going to change. And this document needed to be flexible. Right. So that's the thing. It's like we need to build a system that's flexible, but yet adheres to the needs of, as many people as possible. Right. It's a tough sell to tell somebody. You and someone else who are like-minded on this subject are kind of have a hard time wrapping your head around it. What? Who let Yona up in this? Smoke more of the weeds. Yes, sir. Are those doctor's orders there, Yona? Because you're a doctor. I know that. So stop ecocide covers all bases. Yeah. Stop poisoning the planet, for one thing. One other thing is how do you cure greed, right? Greed is an addiction, just like anything else. But so if we can stop addictions for drugs, maybe we can stop addictions for money, right? If we could get our scientists to come up with that little solution, because that would be good. Dr. Funk's order, because the boogie must boogie. Fuck yeah. Yeah, H2O is a common denominator, that's for sure. That's what I said. I was talking about how you can't go up to a farmer, or you can't go to a hunter down south and say, hey, we need to have these regulations for this water. You just say it like that all they hear is regulations, and they'll be like, fuck you and your big ass government. But when you say, look, we need to do something about this water that you're fishing in, that you're getting fish out of to eat, that the deer that you eat drink out of this pond or out of this stream or whatever, you want that water clean, don't you? Yes, I do. Well, you need regulations to do that. So when you say it like that, the regulations don't sound like regulations, just sounds like common sense shit to do, right? Keep the fucking water clean. It's not brain candy science. Veterans Administration stuff kind of Glavin thing. I don't know where that shit came from. But that's one thing we need to learn how to do. You don't have to give up your convictions about what you're talking about. You just need to wait to get to that point. You have to get people comfortable with you first. They're not going to, they're not going to talk to you about delicate shit like that, about whether they want to strike or something like that. They may think you're a Fed or something like that. You have to gain people's trust, and you have to do it the right way. You have to be honest with them. You have to be, natural, authentic, and then you talk to them. Because if you don't believe it, how the hell are you going to get somebody else to believe it? It doesn't make sense. Regulations imply a state solution, and plenty of people hate big government. Exactly. That's why you have to rephrase things. You have to use different terminology when you're talking to different people, right? If you're talking to somebody that, like, in business, it's like, look, dude, you still won't have to pay anything extra if they do this, because this is actually a service they're providing for you, or that sort of thing. When you make it sound like they're actually doing something, yes. But right now they don't. You can get all kinds of people together in a room. Doesn't matter what their economic background is. They will all say, except the ones that are making it rich on Wall Street, they won't all say that the economy sucks, this method of the way we're doing things suck. I love capitalism, but this is crony capitalism. I don't like this kind of capitalism. Well, you're not going to get pure, unadulterated capitalism, just like you're not going to get pure, unadulterated communism or socialism, right? And you live in a country that's literally a melting pot as far as the Constitution is concerned. It's right. People from all over the place come here, so you need to build something that is for everyone and not just certain kinds of people, whether it's a theocracy or what have you, right? That's what America's about. Unless we're not about that anymore. So if that's the case, then we should probably take the Statue of Liberty out of New York Harbor and give it back to the French, maybe sell it for some cash so we can afford fucking medicine in this country. Only two races matter, rich and broke ass. That's pretty much all we got here. Right, and I'm not a fan of big government. I'm a fan of smart government. I'm afraid of people who have their own financial agendas when they're in power in the government, like insider traders and people who make laws that affect the prices of commodities, things like that. I'm not a fan of that kind of shit. Maybe we don't need a federal government, one federal government. Maybe we need like regional governments to break it up, to where there is no one central government. Maybe you have these 5, regional governments who have to, agree either like with a majority, or maybe you have to do like, it has to be unanimous or something like that. But that's where the negotiations come from. That's where the conversations come from. You talk to people, you figure this stuff out, and you try and find the most common solution. Like, I don't know who said it up here. They said, water is a common denominator. Yes, global solidarity. You said that. So some of these people don't believe their water's being poisoned. They believe everything the Magic Picture Box tells them, right? Their favorite news person can't be lying. They've been telling me this stuff for all these years. It's got to be true, right? So that's why you always got to be skeptical about everything, even the stuff, even the things that do good things, right? You don't have to be paranoid about it, but you do have to be skeptical about it. For your own sake. Otherwise, you're going to get fucked over. Okay? You're gonna trust some of these places, and then they're going to do the shady shit because you're not keeping an eye on them because you trust them, and then boom, then you're like, why did I even trust these people in the first place? Blah 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 blah. And then nobody gives a shit because you fucked up. So, like I said, this is going to take a concerted effort, and it's going to have to take people around the country, even in Hawaii and Alaska, right? You have to shut this shit down. And hope against hope that the strikes are contagious enough to where others feel compelled. That's the thing. A lot of these, if they see one organization or company doing this, they're like, oh, well, that's all well and good, but they got a good union. They can afford that shit. We can't do that at our shitty little place that has like 5 people. I don't know how well that's going to work on the local level. I mean, if you have like a local business that's just barely getting by and you're trying to get $25 an hour from them, chances are it's probably not going to happen there. You may just have to find a gig somewhere else, but we need to do something for the small businesses too, so they can provide, at least the cost of living, a quality cost of living, not some bullshit where you're barely scraping by. Hawaii's got to get back their own nation. Alaska too. Well, yeah, I guess the Russians need to get Alaska back, right? Hawaii was a kingdom. Then they became a state. That's where Hawaii 5-0 comes from. The 5-0 means it was the 50th state. And so people just started associating 5-0 with cops. And it's like, no, it's the 50th state. Exactly, Kiwi Corner. I sees you over there on the Rumble. National strikes are the way to go. It's easier to do in a smaller country like France or England or something like that because, you have less landscaped to cover. Whereas here in the United States, it's pretty fucking big. We, here in us Americans, we don't really think of our country as a large country, but geographically, it's pretty fucking huge. The way that contract renewal timing works, it doesn't always make much sense to risk solidarity. Exactly. There's too many like contraptions and too many mechanisms and too much red tape and stuff like that involved. And we need to get out of that. And start thinking outside the box. Lainey, you're after me, heart. $4.99 from you, sweetie. Thank you. Truly independent media matters. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing too. We gotta get. That's probably one of the first things we can do for our friends outside of the outside our little neck of the woods here, and get them out of their little bubble. Is to get them off that mainstream media news. My God. And tell them all, just keep drilling into their head. All of it is awful, right? All of it is awful. The left stuff, the right stuff, the somewhat centrist stuff, all that shit is just propaganda. It's to continue the divide, right? Here in the independent space, at least I am, and a lot of these folks here. Wait a minute, where are you? Right there. We kind of share the love. We kind of help each other out and try to get the proper information out there to the people. We tend to work together more than because mainstream media is owned by corporations and their corporate interests, right? Whereas we're all our own individual owners, right? Like I own this, show. I own this channel basically. Well, YouTube owns it, and Google and Alphabet, they own the channel, but this is my neck of the woods, right? We're all doing independent things, but because we are independent, we have more of a tendency to help other independent channels out as well. Kind of like independent truckers are out there. They're always looking out for each other when they're out on the road. So, and that's how we got to be in this space. We got to look after each other and take care of each other. And make sure no one is trying to stop us from telling the truth about things, right? Particularly about our ways of life. I know you may think I'm doing cocaine, but my nose really itches, and I think I got this hair coming in that's doing a certain thing. So I'm trying to grow this out for next month so I can be crackhead Santa Claus. CBC voter, what's up? Hey, happy Wednesday. to you too as well. Clearinghouse of YouTubers. Is there a location to rate the channels? I don't know. I mean, maybe you could start one, I guess. But, I mean, when you rate channels, you're kind of pitting them against each other in that way, right? That's kind of a way of dividing. I'm not saying that's what your intentions are, but, yeah, you can... I don't know. I'd have a hard time rating channels, like which one's better than another one or that kind of thing. I always just point people in the direction they need to go. Like if they're looking for certain information, if they're more just news oriented, I'd point them more towards the individual journalist pages or channels, or maybe they got a Substack, or maybe they got their own website, that kind of thing. You know, if they're looking for analysis, right? If some people are looking for political analysis for some reason, they want to waste time with that, I point them to people who, you know, like, even though if you're talking about political stuff, if you're coming from a good place and your heart's in the right place, that you actually want to help people and you're trying to educate them, by telling them all about the surface level bullshit, maybe educating them about why a lot of the surface level stuff is unimportant. If you're doing that, yeah, that's great. If you're educating people, you know, but if you're just like making bucks off of just clickbaity titles and, ooh, can you believe so-and-so said this about so-and-so? That's more divisional shit. And we don't need that shit. All right. I'm sorry, but the whole gossipy thing is just a waste of time. It really is. Maybe you should paint that caterpillar on your face. What? I don't even know what that means. Is that some sort of sex code, Max? What the fuck are you talking about, dude? No, I know that's not sex code. I just wanted to say sex code for some reason. Are we going into speakeasy places? Maybe. I don't know. Is anything being banned? We may have to go into a speakeasy to have freedom of speech. Exactly, Rick. No more TMZ shit. That's all gossipy shit that ran its course, right? You had all these gossip shows, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous with Robin Leach in the 1980s, where he would talk about all these fancy homes that stars and rich people lived in, and like, all you're doing is pissing off poor people. Why the fuck who gives a shit about stuff like that? All the glitz and glamour. Greed is good. That was another 80s thing that came out of that movie Wall Street. That what's his face did? Oliver Stone did. And so that became a thing, right? All the propaganda in the 80s when Reagan took over, you know, all the gung-ho machismo 80s movies. You know, I'm American. That's freedom. You know, we fighting for freedom. You know, your Lee Greenwood songs, you know, him riding around on a fucking tractor with his receding hairline and shit saying, I'm proud to be American. You know, so you got to remember, Gen X was steeped in that stuff too. But a lot of Gen X figured that shit out early that, hey, wait a minute. I smell bullshit. And that's why Gen X doesn't get a lot of credit for anything, because we're usually ignored, because we're usually the loudest complainers when it comes to dumb shit. Back to the underground. Willie Bragg. Willie, what are you doing? I know you're at work, man. I hope you don't get fired for listening to this propaganda. I was inspired by you to do a show this evening, Willie. When you said shut it down, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. Willie knows what's up. So we're doing a Shut It Down Mutual Aid Direct Action show tonight, just talking to the peeps, talking about honing your communication skills so you can get people into the loop, get them into the know. Remember, you're not trying to propagandize people. You're trying to deprogram them from the propaganda. And it's going to be a test. You know, if you're trying to do that with some people, you're trying to spring them from this mental jail that they're in. But, you know, some people ain't going to want to get out of that jail. They will call you all kinds of names up and down, call you some bitch, probably kick at you, probably spit at you, something like that. So if you really love this person, you care about this person, you'll be patient with them and try to do your best to try and win them over, or at least get them away from the dark side. I have mad crowd work skills. My jokes suck though. I hate doing stand up. I really do. Choosy's in the house too. Choosy, it's too late for books. Wait a minute, Choosy, were you there before? No, I don't see your long ass name up there. Unlearn and re-educate. Exactly, right? You gotta scrub off the soap from the brainwashing. But the only way you can do that is with love. You try it any other way, you try it with drugs or anything like that, people ain't gonna respond well. But if they know that you're a sincere person, you come from a good place, they'll be more likely to listen to you. And hopefully, if you're armed with the correct information, you can provide to them. They'll give them something to chew on. Because that's the thing, you don't want them. It's like you're trying to sell anything else, right? The way you do it is you're like, look, don't say yes, don't say no, just think about it. You let me know later. All right. Butt scratcher. Yeah, Willie, that was a great show earlier this evening. Talking about his 2020 Bernie Bro days and where he's at today. Exactly. Design revolution as a million of army of one. And people are they're waiting for another Bernie Sanders to come along, or they're waiting for some Messiah to come along and bring everybody together. And it's like, we're gonna have to bring ourselves together. That's why we're doing this. This is why people like me and a lot of other folks in this space, we're just trying to educate people and say, look, these political parties, they're not going to save you. These politicians are not going to save you. Nobody in government's going to save you. You're going to have to do it yourself. And you're going to have to inspire others to do it too. You know, you have to be that, person who can do the crowd work too, as my friend said. But like I said, learn how to read people, read the room before you talk to them. It's very important. It's almost like someone who has PTSD, right? You don't want to just come right up in somebody's face like that and trying to get them to talk to you about something. You got to ease them into it, right? And in a lot of ways, these brainwashed people, it's like PTSD, right? You once you get out of it, like I said, I was a Clinton fan for the longest time, Bill Clinton. And, you couldn't say anything to me about Bill Clinton. It's like, oh no, he's a great president. You guys are fucking crazy. And it turns out he's one of the biggest piece of shit presidents we ever had. And when I found out all that knowledge, I was very devastated because I'd spent all my energies supporting this creep when I could have been doing something else. So now I'm trying to pay it forward to people who are in these political cults. I'm trying to be as patient with them as I can, but there's some people you can't reach. I'm sorry, and we need to move along. It's almost like triage, right? Like you got to get to the worst patient first, and then if you're better off than someone else, you'll have to wait, that kind of thing. So the strength of your adversaries is in the Bible. Use the same language for communicating. Church of Warren. Oh God, no. No Church of Warren anything. NAFTA, connect the person to past ancestors to have a story. So, and I think just as individuals, we just have a hard time communicating with people. We know what we kind of want to say. We know what we believe, and we want to bring that knowledge to this person that doesn't know it. But we want to be prepared with the right information, because we too can still be propagandized, even those people who are kind of keeping an eye on things. We always have to keep a constant eye out for propaganda, because it's everywhere. It permeates everything you do, everything you see. It's all over the place. Gray Walker joined third party. Hello there. Do not demonize nor idolize any politician. I was going to say, if you demonize politicians, demonize them all, because they're all in the same boat. But yeah, you're right. Don't, just don't go out of your way to demonize any of these people, and especially idolize politicians. They're supposed to be working for us, right? These politicians, they've forgotten that. And they're like, no, we don't work for you. We work for AIPAC. We work for the military industrial complex. We work for moneyed interests in the world that have agendas that our government can't easily facilitate for them, that kind of thing. Yeah, there are millions of activists working. There's more of us than them. That's the thing. It's like nobody, when you try to get people together, it seems like there's always some sort of Fed or op that gets in the mix to try and bust up the harmony that you got going on, right? And then they go, see, look, these people are awful, but it was you were the one who were instigating it for your own nefarious reasons, right? We need to call out the fuckers first. We need to find out who the fuckers are that are starting all this shit first, and get them out of the picture somehow. Call them out for what they're doing. Say, look, this guy's a liar. That sort of thing. And we need a concerted effort for that too, fighting back the propaganda while delivering the truth. It's tough. Like I said, none of these things are going to be easy. None of them are going to be easy at all. Otherwise, we would have done it a long time ago, right? We would have done all this stuff a long time ago. And people used to be out in the streets a long time ago. But even then, I don't think there was enough people. I mean, we need unprecedented numbers to walk off their jobs, to shut down everything. Transportation, energy, food, all the vital things. We need to shut that stuff down and make sure that we change the system for something that's going to work for all of us and not just a handful of people. Or maybe we just get World War III, right? Because, if Ukraine keeps lobbing any more of those long-range missiles into Russia, we may all this may be just a moot point. You know what I'm saying? There's also a big giant rock called Apophis that's coming in 2029. It's not going to hit the Earth in 2029, but if it passes by the Earth at a certain place and time and angle, if everything is just right, then when it comes back around again in 7 years, ploop, right in the ocean, ploop. We're talking about, tsunamis a half mile tall and thousands of miles an hour, shit like that. I'm a big time pessimist. I'm praying for Team Meteor anytime. Doesn't have to be 2028. It could be 2025. I'm not picky. So, because I know one thing for sure, electoral politics on the national level ain't going to do shit. You're just wasting your fucking time. The possibility of World War III saddens me. 30 years ago, I thought that was no longer a threat. I know, right? The wall. Remember when the wall came down, Lainey? When the wall came down, all was going to be forgiven, right? Everything was going to be hunky-dory in the world. A different rock 2029. There you go. I'm not going to be a nihilist for young people. I think young people are going to be the ones that get us out of this shit. So I'm not going to sit here and say all hope is lost. I think if you're waiting on Gen X to do something, we checked out. We know, we saw the writing on the wall, and we basically said, all right, well, good luck with this. But you youngsters, you still have a shot at saving your own future. So sorry we couldn't do it. Sorry we were inadequate in that regard. So I'd say we'll try better next time, but that's not a thing. is there a website that the QR code flyer would point to that has a plan laid out? I think that would help everyone get on the same page. However, I guess it would make it easier for it to be shut down. Well, you could do both. You could have the QR code. All it does is point to a website. It just tells your camera to point to a website. So, yeah, you could have a flyer that has all this stuff. You could like come up with all these little like bullet points and stuff like that. Any kind of plan that you have for like a general strike or like your idea of a new kind of government. Korbeck, look at you preaching it, the truth again. It's all the boomers' fault. Yeah, silent generation too. Those fuckers, they still got a hand in things too. But like I said, if you think you're gonna vote somebody in to help you, that's not gonna happen. We're gonna have to do all this stuff ourselves. Exactly. Yes, there's too much trust in the government. Too much trust in this government, right? This government is very corrupt, very shit. So I understand why people don't trust this government. But that's not to say you shouldn't trust a government in general, right? I just think 350 million people is a lot of cats to herd, right? So it's tough to govern that many people under one federal rooftop. 11 demands for real democracy. Okay, let's put that up there. Very good. Yeah, stand on your demands. Stand on your principles too. Don't back down. If somebody's trying to talk, you're trying to talk somebody into like getting away from a certain ideology or something, and they're trying to convince you to partake in that ideology, chances are they're probably a recruiter type person that's trying to get you in one of these cults, and you're just like, you're not going to be able to help that person. But that's going to be a learning experience. That's going to, you'll learn along the way the people that you can help, the people you can't help, and just don't waste a lot of time on the people you can't help. There are other people out there that need the information. And if this person is not going to take it, then you got to move on, soldier. You just got to keep on keeping on. Well, I think we've talked long enough. Hemp Car in the house. Hello, Hemp Car. Over there on the Rockfin. If enough of Rogan's, Jones, Doors, Brands fans demanded they all set a date to occupy D.C., they have the numbers. They killed MLK for that. Yeah. They do have a lot of numbers, especially Joe Rogan's people. He's got millions of people. That's what I say. Like Jill Stein, none of these people were saying, let's get out in the streets. I would have had more respect for her if she said that, but, It's quiet over there, Kate. You and Hemp Car over there hanging on to Rockfin, holding it down over there. There is no such thing as a trustworthy government. Well, yeah, it's because the government's run by people. It's run by untrustworthy people under a system that's untrustworthy, that has, failed to meet checks and balances set in place long ago, right? That's what another thing the Constitution is supposed to do, along with the Supreme Court, is to check and balance these laws and stuff and make sure, because, maybe one era these laws are fine, but then in another era, they're totally go against what society wants, so you have to change them. Yes, power corrupts, exactly. So how do you run a country of 350 million people? I say you have regional governments instead of a national government. Because it is a big country to try and run like that. And it would probably be more beneficial to have regional governments that can take care of the needs of their people a lot better than waiting on the national government to do anything, especially like during natural disasters and stuff like that, like hurricanes and stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to hop on here. I was feeling the Jones to do a show, and now I can say I did my ExtraBulla live show for the week. Now the man will get off my back. I don't know who the man is, but I appreciate everybody hanging out here tonight. We got 20 people watching over here on YouTubers. At least 2 on Rockfin and Kiwi over there holding it down on Rumble. And, of course, our lurkers all over the place. Uphold the Leahy law. Yes, exactly. So, yeah, keep on preaching the word to people out there in Normieville. Tell your friends that, you don't have to use words like communism and socialism. Just explain the benefits of both without saying what they are, and chances are people will listen to you more too. So, just get out there and read the room, folks. That's all we can say. And hopefully we'll, things will change. I don't know if they'll change in my lifetime. It's just one of those things we're going to have to find on our own. We have to talk to our own peoples, localize everything, take care of your communities first and spread out from there. So, what was the leaflet with the QR code? I just tuned in. Oh, no, I was just saying, like, if the old school ways of getting the word out about things. So if you have, like, you want to talk to people about, general strike or mutual aid, direct action, stuff like that. You got a website or something. You could just have the QR code on the thing and people would just scan it. So back in the day, you could pull a little tab off and it had a phone number on there, and you keep that and you put that in your, if you didn't have a cell phone back then, you'd call from a payphone or wherever. But nowadays, you don't need that. You could, like I said, you could take a flyer and get some of that shrink wrap that just put around a pole, and it sticks, right? It keeps it in place, keeps the water out, or keeps the rain out, and it's sealed around there. I guess after a while it'll stop working, but a long while, like years and years and years. But then you can. I think there's a way. Like if you go to a website, I know when I use the Brave browser, I think if you right click on there, you can do, you could save as a QR code or something like that. But it's very handy when you're trying to get the word out old school, but with new methods or new technologies, I should say. So, in Vancouver, nothing keeps the water out. I use wheat paste. Okay. 11demands.org is a good read. Okay. Zalippa, you can put like the actual website in here since you're a wrench. So, you could put the actual thing in there. You don't have to go cheaty with the space around each side of the dot there, but I appreciate your efforts. Secrete shows. Ew. No, I know that's not what you meant. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. What's going on tomorrow? I think Willie's doing another show. I'm going to be off. I think Kevin's doing his show, Black Bear News, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. And Around the World, Dee and Friends. I think she might still be on right now. Well, that was weird. I don't know why that happened. Okay. Interesting. Yay. There we go. Some of my tech just went a little wonky there for a second. So Around the World, Dee and Friends, 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow as well. I'll be back Friday morning with a little show called Morning Extra, where we do news shows. We talk to you about news. Actually, we just give you the news. Very little commentary. We try to do as many stories as we can to get you informed, and then use your creative minds, your critical thinking skills, and you decide what the news means to you. You don't need a pundit telling you what things mean. Use your brain. Get in there. Do it yourself. This is a BYOB kind of thing. Yeah. So other than that, QR codes can be on a sticker 2 by 2 inches. Yeah, it's a QR code. As long as you can scan it, as long as you're able to scan it, as long as it's not like some little bitty P and you can't scan it. That's it. That's all it's got to be. Okay, well, I love each and every one of you. I appreciate you listening to me ramble about this kind of stuff. And we'll do more shows like this. Maybe we'll get some people, some actual workers out there who are contemplating doing something like this and get them on. And if you know anybody like that, just hit me up. ExtraBulla, the name of this show, at gmail.com. Just let me know, and I'll try and contact them, see if we can get them on to talk about more ideas, how we can get more people motivated to get out in the streets and do something good, not just for their communities, but for themselves too. So, all right. Well, that's it for me. Have yourselves a merry little Christmas. Wait a minute. That's not time for that shit. I will see you, Friday. So, there you go. Take care, everybody. Peace.
1, 2, 3, 4.